What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel if you are a new subscriber, and welcome back to all of the current viewers and subscribers. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to check out some of these videos. We're going to take a look at a couple different stocks here that we are looking to buy in the coming days or the coming weeks, all depending on what the general market decides to do. Looks like we have bottomed though, and that is what we are sticking with until proven otherwise. Start this video off, we are going to take a look at AAPL, also known as Apple, traded on the NASDAQ. We're on TradingView, we're on a daily chart. On the screen, we have the 50-day moving average in green, the 21 in blue, as well as the 200-day in red. So taking a little bit of a zoom in here, you can see my arrow is pointed at the 200-day, and it looks like we found some really nice support at the 200-day and then bounced quite strong. We are looking to buy Apple within the coming days here, assuming the market does continue up, which we believe it will. We will see what happens over the weekend with all of the unfortunate events unfolding around the world. But right now, this thing looks like it was nothing more than a pullback into the 200-day, and we should be heading much higher here for Apple. This is nothing more than a big basing structure. And if I can zoom out here a little bit more, we'll probably see higher prices to come in the future for Apple. Although I will not share specific entries and exit signals, those are only posted over on the Patreon page. Things are looking quite bullish here for Apple. So that is on our radar, and we will be keeping a close eye on. Good old Apple stock, ticker symbol AAPL, looking good here. We're going to probably run into a little bit of trouble at the 21 and 50-day moving averages, but I think if the market is going to continue higher, we should be getting up past those without too much of a headache. All right, let's jump over to something else. Let's look at the TQQQs. TQQQ is the ticker symbol. It's the Pro Shares, Ultra Pro, Triple Qs, also NASDAQ, traded on the NASDAQ here. So this thing is unlike Apple. We are well below the 200-day moving average, but looks like we have bottomed, and then we had more of upside price action on Friday, up 4.7%. This thing is looking like it's ready to rocket back higher as well. Looks like the 200-day is flattening out. We are having some pretty good downtrend, though, on the 50 and 21-day. But we will see here if we get a little bit more confirmation to the upside. We will be getting back into a long position here for the TQQQs. Now, I do believe we are going to run into some struggles up in this area. We have a lot of overhead resistance, even pulling back into like around here. We have a lot of overhead resistance, and I think when price gets up into this area, we'll either see some kind of a pause, pull back, and then we'll make that next leg up. Now we could pull all the way back up to here, find resistance, and then roll over again. Like I said about the Apple stock, it'll depend on what the overall market will be doing. But if you look at market sentiment, things are quite bearish right now. There is a lot of bears and there is a lot of fear, and markets thrive on that and will move in the direction that the majority least expects. So when price gets up into these areas and we are well off the bottom, people will be not quite believing it because they're still expecting, a bear market or the news is quite horrible. But markets move before the news comes out. So usually when we get up into these areas, you'll start seeing much more positive news. But the bottom has been in place for some time. So that's our thoughts on the TQQQs. Is we think we're going up and we will be getting into a position in this. But like I said, we'll probably run into a little bit of turbulence in this area, which also correlates with the 200-day moving average. So keep your eye on the TQQQs. They are a leveraged product, so just be aware of that. All right, let's take a look at another stock here. We're going to take a look at ticker symbol WOOD, Wood. S&P Global Timber and Forestry Indexed Fund. We are getting quite bullish here on this. Now, there has been a lot of whipsawing going on up in this area as the price consolidates. But that's just the way it is sometimes. You get whipsawed in and out of positions, but you have to take the next trade because that next trade could be the one that finally breaks out of this very, very long range dating back to basically May of 21. Quite some time here. But you could see that we found some nice support at the 200-day, as well as the other averages are hanging in there as well. So this thing could be in the early stages of putting on a move like this. Much higher prices to come. Potentially for the Timber and Forestry Index Fund, ticker symbol WOOD. So we're watching wood. It's kind of all we got there. I mean, yeah, this thing could bounce up here and then bounce back and continue to range for a while. But it looks like we put in a bottom. Something that pops out a little bit on the screen here is we do have a little bit of a lower gap there, which is kind of a concern because it's well below the market. But we'll see if it gets filled. At some point, it probably will get filled. So that is something to keep in the back of your mind. If we take a look over here on wood, we have an overhead gap, looks like right in here, up in that $97, $98 range. And looks like we're trading at 90 now, so that puts us $7 or $8 up higher just to get back up to that gap. So we're watching wood. Orders are working in the market, and we will be getting into this thing if it does continue to move higher. Ticker symbol WOOD. All right, let's take a look at ExxonMobil. Ticker symbol XOM. Looks like this is a New York Stock Exchange traded stock here. I did mention that we got stopped out of our long position. Our trailing stop was hit a couple days back. This thing was looking quite ugly, but once again, it is looking like not much more than a slight pullback, and a big breakout could potentially be setting up here for Exxon. We'll see what happens as with the rest of the market over the weekend, but we will not ignore higher prices if they do arise come next week. And we have some long orders working here for good old XOM, ExxonMobil. So a couple days ago, we were a little bit bearish on it, but things and the tide looks like it has been changing. We're not going to ignore that, and we will be getting back in Exxon if higher prices do show up. I want to look at another stock here that we We missed out on this one, but it's looking quite bullish. I believe the ticker symbol is LMT. Yes, Lockheed Martin Corporation, traded on the NYSE as well. This thing had a monster day on Friday, up looks like 3.4%. Breaking out of this big consolidation here. Big day for Lockheed. Maybe it's moving on the news with Russia and Ukraine, but we did not have an order working for Lockheed. It was not on our radar, but as we look at it here, it should have been. We broke above this, looks like this line here, this whole trading range, and it was quite strong. So if anybody is in Lockheed, good for you. You're doing quite well. Congratulations, especially if you're in from much lower prices. But this thing could just be getting started here. Things could be just heating up for Lockheed. We will see, obviously, in the coming days, weeks, months ahead. So, although we did miss this one, this would have been a good one to get into here. So this chart actually looks and reminds me a little bit of a stock that we did just get stopped out of as well, which was Philip Morris. Ticker symbol PM. Looks like another New York Stock Exchange stock. So if you look at here, let's zoom in a bit on Philip Morris. So you could see that we're getting those strong moves to the upside for Philip Morris, taking it well above these highs. Traded up many days in the green, and then as the world events unfolded, the markets dropped quite quickly, and we were stopped out of this as well. Our trailing stops were hit. So this looks quite interesting. It kind of reminds me of Lockheed. Obviously, Lockheed is more like in this area here, the early stages of a breakout. So we'll see how much higher it rises. Something that is a little bit bullish for Philip Morris here is that we have this overhead price gap. And at some point, the price is going to rise and go fill that gap. So we'll see $107 or higher Philip Morris again in the future. It's only a matter of time until that gap goes back and gets filled. Now, if the markets tank, which we don't think is going to happen, then that gap could stay open for years to come. But at some point, this thing will recover and go back up and fill that gap. But just wanted to add this in here because it kind of looks like what it looks like Lockheed Martin when this one broke out. Lockheed Martin, has a similar look as Philip Morris. So we will see. This is also another stock that we will be getting back into for a long position, but it needs to show some strength. And with that gap down and then fading on Friday afternoon, not quite heading in the direction we would like to see, but we think at some point in the future, it will have another rise to the upside. All right, everybody, just a quick recap. We looked at Apple, ticker symbol AAPL. We looked at the TQQQs, ticker symbol TQQQ. We looked at some forestry stuff, ticker symbol WOOD, wood. We looked at Exxon Mobil, ticker symbol XOM. And we looked at Lockheed Martin, ticker symbol LMT. Those are just a couple of many stocks that we look at on a daily and weekly basis, but just wanted to share a couple of those with you. Maybe you can add them to your watch list, onto your radar. Of course, not financial advice. Let's see what happens in the coming week here. We'll know a little bit more as the weekend unfolds and as the Sunday night futures open 6 p.m. over on the East Coast. They will tell a little bit of a story, especially into late Sunday night, early Monday morning trading. We will see, but if we look at the general markets, let's bring up SPY real quick. if we look at SPY, it looks like we have bottomed, and the markets will bottom before the positive news shows up in all of the headlines. So we'll see what's coming here. We'll see if we get back up into this area, perhaps not quite to all-time highs, but well off the bottom. And that is usually the time that you'll start getting that very positive news. But like I said, the market has already bottomed long ago, and that works on both sides. So you were getting this whole area up in here, right? And any long trader should have been out of the market and taken profits or went into a short position. And as you know, what has unfolded is negative news. And some of the most negative news that we've had so far has come in right near the bottom. So the markets are always a couple steps ahead of the crowds and the news. That's why reading the charts, or knowing how to read the charts, is so important for staying on the right side of the trade. Figured I would share that with you guys. All right, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your Saturday morning to check out this video. Keep everybody in Ukraine and all of the other craziness going on in the world in your thoughts. And I will see you guys in the next video. You guys have a great weekend. Take care.